In a TV game show, if you were asked to name an Armenian composer, your answer would probably be either Gomidas or Khachaturian. And you would be absolutely right. Gomidas is the fountainhead of contemporary Armenian music, and through his songs has set the tone for a national school of musical thought. While Khachaturian is the face of Armenian culture, shall we say, ambassador at large to the world of music. His saber dance is, of course, the Armenian calling card for the world. Yet, there are many other composers who are essential figures in the development of Armenian music. Creative artists, visionary minds, inventive composers who are little known outside of Armenia. For example, Edvard Mirzoyan is perhaps one of the most eloquent voices of contemporary Armenian music. Although his creative output is limited, still, his symphony for strings and timpani, cello sonata, and string quartet are staples of the repertoire. He has written very little for the piano, just the 1971 poem and the 1984 album for my granddaughter. The album came about when the French publisher Alphonse Leduc was touring the former Soviet Union in 1982 and paid a courtesy call to Mirzoyan, then the president of the Armenian Composers Union. During the visit, Leduc proposed to Mirzoyan that he write a piano piece for publication by Leduc House. Mirzoyan thanked him and promptly discarded the idea, assuming that, as was the practice in the Soviet Union, one had to submit the work for review first, and when and if approved, it was made public, published, and performed. During the ensuing months, Leduc kept in touch with Mirzoyan, reminding him of their communication, but Mirzoyan paid no attention whatsoever. However, when Leduc finally sent a telegram to confirm their interest in publishing, the composer got the point and set to work. Mirzoyan recalled an incident that had taken place a few years earlier when he was in the office of the Soviet Deputy Minister of Culture in Moscow, seated at the piano, doodling, and was playing two notes back and forth. When the minister inquired about the origin of the so-called theme, Mirzoyan claimed ignorance. But the theme was stuck in his head, and he went on to use it as the central kernel of said waltz. Tikran Mansourian, perhaps the most successful of the middle generation composers in Armenia, has created a large body of works in different styles. The four Hayren were composed originally in 1967 for mezzo-soprano and piano on quatrains by the 16th century poet Nahabet Kuchag. Recently, Ara Arakelian, a friend of Mansourian's, had been visiting him at his home in Yerevan and heard a live recording of the Hayren. Deeply impressed, Ara suggested that the composer transcribed the vocal line for viola and specifically for Kim Kashkashian. This new version was premiered in Basel, Switzerland in the fall of 2005 by Kim Kashkashian with the composer at the piano. As is the case in his Hayren, Mansourian's musical style is characterized by a synthesis of ancient Armenian musical traditions fused with contemporary Western compositional methods. Here is, in translation, Kuchag's poem, which is the basis of Mansourian's Hayren. Prophet David, I have sinned. Understand the state I'm in. Above all treasures in this world, I love my life's only light, this girl. If such a creature came your way, you'd keep her in your tent all day. You'd sing her psalms while it was light, then hold her close throughout the night. Lazar Saryan, the son of the famed painter Mardiros Saryan, like Mirzoyan, produced relatively few works, but they are distinguished by their exquisite elegance, profound content, and colorful instrumentation. The three postludes were written after the 1988 Armenian earthquake and reflect the composer's reaction to the event as articulated in the preface of the score. Saryan states, "This period was decisive not only for the fate of the Armenian people, but also for my own art." Women in the art have loomed large in Armenian culture. The first women composers in the Christian era were Armenians who lived during the 8th century. Their names were Sahakduht and Khosroviduht. Sahakduht was an ascetic and taught the male clergy how to sing hymns while hidden behind a curtain as the mores of the time dictated. Khosroviduht was the sister of Prince Vahan of Koht, who was imprisoned when her brother was captured by the Muslims and later beheaded for reclaiming his Christian faith. The work of these two women has survived all this time, and their stories are absolutely fascinating. As then, also now, there are many highly talented Armenian women composers, including Khachaturian and Khachaturian, who have enriched the musical canvas of the nation. Khachaturian has created a large body of work, including a great many piano compositions. Her works incorporate a broad vocabulary of Armenian characteristics as well as manifest elements of classic Russian traditions. Dance and music are closely related art forms. That's because they both take place along a continuum of time. A painting is two-dimensional, length and height. A sculpture has a three-dimensional format, length, height, and depth. Whereas both music and dance evolve in time. Unlike a painting or a sculpture, you can't experience a piece of music or a presentation of dance all at once. You have to remember it and reform its shape in your mental ear and eye. Sarkis Barkhudarian was among the earliest of Armenian composers who understood this interconnection. He was also instrumental in shaping a national style of piano music. Nazbar, or koi dance, perfectly emulates the sinuous movements of a young girl's hands, wrists, body, and feet. The tuba, the lowest of the brass instruments, is rarely used outside of large orchestral ensembles. The solo repertoire for the tuba is a small one indeed. Interestingly enough, there are a number of compositions for this ungainly instrument written by Armenian composers, and one of the virtuoso tubists in the world is an Armenian, Sam Palafian. Vartan Ajemian's fantasy for tuba and piano was commissioned by the renowned Finnish tubist Harry Lidsle, who performed it on a number of occasions in Scandinavia. Armenian Rhapsody was jointly composed by Alexander Khachaturian and Arno Babajanian. The idea of creating a piece of music by a team rather than a single composer is indeed odd. In the early 70s, as a result of the rapprochement between China and the United States, the musical world had been exposed to Red Chinese music, and we were all shocked to find out that the Yellow River Concerto was written by a committee of composers, an idea so outrageous, so ideologically driven, so insipid. When I recently asked Khachaturian about the Rhapsody, he explained to me that it consisted of a series of themes from Armenian folk music, and each had been composed separately and independently by the two collaborators. Alas, there had been no co-writing between the two composers. Happy listening. Hajukov Lisetsek.